Big news out of college football Saturday was the injury to Tua Tagovialoa, ending his 2019 season. Tua had been battling a ankle injury in his right ankle, an injury that he had surgery on, missed a game or two. There was wonder if he was going to come back for the LSU game. Played in that. Looked like it affected him, but he was still able to go out and make plays. Against Mississippi State, once again, he looked like it was hurting him, but he was still able to go out and help the Crimson Tide get to a 35-7 lead, getting towards the end of the first half. It looked like the Crimson Tide had pulled him, but Tua talked Nick Saban into letting him go back into the game, and for that 2-minute drill. I know after the fact, Nick Saban said that they wanted him to get some practice in a 2-minute drill. It is what it is. On that play, he took a sack. It didn't really look like the biggest hit. I know I watched that replay a few times, and maybe I'm wrong, but it didn't really look like he got hit too hard or felt that awkward. And like I said, I could be 100% wrong there. He ends up dislocating his hip, fracturing a bone. He was in a ton of pain. There was reports he was in agony in the tunnel. They had to help him off of the cart, and they ended up, from all reports, they set it back into place at the stadium, but then they ended up flying him in a helicopter to Birmingham to get further evaluation. I know the doctors there were doing MRIs and other types of testing to see what the best course of action was. However, the doctor Lyle Kane, said that he foresees Tua having a full recovery, and I think that's the biggest thing to take out of it. Yes, it was terrible that he got hurt and that he is going to miss the rest of the season, because having Tua Tagovailoa playing is best for football. He's, in my opinion, if not the best, one of the best college football quarterbacks out there. So having him play games is good for everybody. It's good for Tua. It's good for Crimson Tide. It's good for football fans. So that's the best thing, is that he's going to be able to get back to 100% according to this doctor. Now, he still's got a long ways to go, and there are a lot of people comparing this to being the same type of injury that ended Bo Jackson's career. If you remember Bo Jackson, for those of you who you better know who he is, but accomplished two-sport star, was one of the best running backs in the NFL when he was there. Broke his hip, and was never played football again. So we want Tua out there. We want him playing again, and you got to hope that he's able to recover. He's able to get the treatment that he needs. There's no complications. He's able to rehab and get back to being one of the best quarterbacks in college football and a top NFL draft pick. Now, how does this affect the NFL draft? You would think at this point, Tua's only a junior, a true junior, that he'll be able to come. And, if he's able to get recovered, you don't know the timeline. He's still got eligibility left. He can go back to Alabama, get back on the field, prove that he's healthy, and then go to the NFL draft. It looks, as of right now, the 2020 NFL draft is off the books for Tua. And Tua was my number one rated quarterback in this draft. He was, I just loved his accuracy. I loved his touch. Just a tremendous prospect. And I think the only knock on him was, he's a little bit smaller, but it's not like he's Kyler Murray size. He's, 6'1", 6'1". He was, mobile in the pocket. So I had him as my 5th rated prospect in this draft. I would have, if he would have got number 1 overall pick, I don't think I would have had an issue. I would have not have had an issue with it. I would have, praised that team for taking their quarterback, getting the guy to be their franchise quarterback. Now, he's off the table. So now that leaves, and to be honest, when I do my quarterbacks, him and Justin Herbert were my 2 guys that I had as first-round picks, first-round graded guys, him and Justin Herbert. I have Joe Burrow as my number 3. I have him kind of more of a late first, early second type grade. I fully know that I've even mocked him number 1 overall. So it's not that I don't think Burrow's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I just need to see more tape, and especially this year, some of the tape that I saw last year wasn't the greatest. Jalen Hurts was another guy that I had in the first round. I think right now this makes it potentially a 2-quarterback first round, Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow. And because those are the clear top 2 guys, I think you're going to see a lot more teams get aggressive up. Is that going to move a guy like Jalen Hurts into the first round potentially? Could it move a Jordan Love into the first round? Definitely things to kind of consider in this situation. One other thing that I want to hit on was the fact that Tua was out there. And I've been very critical of teams for doing this. You're up big points. Alabama was up 35-7. And all intents and purposes, they were going to pull him and not let him play. And he talked his way into getting the game. So it's hard to really fault Alabama because Tua wanted to get out there. He had been hurt, had kind of missed some games, wanted to knock off the rust. They've got Auburn coming up, trying to make the national championship. But schools like this, and when I'm going and I'm watching tape of these guys to break them down, I'm watching tape and I'm like, okay, you're up like 4 scores in the early fourth quarter. Why is this guy even out there? And people will say, oh, they're trying to get him work. It's early in the season. They're trying to get him work. Oh, they're trying to pad his stats. But then situations like this happen. And we've seen it with other players too, other draft picks. They're in a game where the game's clearly decided. Play some of your younger players. We wonder why these quarterbacks transfer and they don't develop, or even other players. It's because it seems like, and maybe I'm wrong, but 5 to 10 years, or maybe 10 years ago, a lot of these teams, the subs would come in early, and your quarterback would only get 2 quarters because the game's over, and you want to get other guys developing and getting game action. You don't see that anymore, and maybe it's just the nature of, hey, we got to get them awards. Hey, if we don't play them as much, they're going to transfer. I don't know what the deal is, but I think this should be a wake up call. And Tua wasn't going to win any Heisman Trophy this year. Hey, he's been hurt, he's been hobbled. He got his action. Get him off the field. Get your backup, Mac Jones. Get him in the game. Get him developing, because if Tua can't go, what if it is the Iron Bowl and he gets hurt? You've got to trust this guy to get in there, and you want to get him as much reps as you can. And I know you get those reps from practice, and Alabama's backups are probably better than a lot of teams' starters, but game action is different than practice. So I'm hoping teams will look at this and say, okay, maybe we need to get these subs in there a little bit early, especially in games that are clearly decided. I mean, it's not like Alabama's thin on their team. They've got 5-star after 5-star after 5-star players. They can play their second string in a game like this and still maintain. So I'm hoping, long story short, I'm hoping Tua Tagovialoa can fully recover. He can get back out on the football field, continue to show why he's an elite prospect, and this is just a blip in his career.